For this video review, we're going to take a look at G.I. Joe Classified Series number 131, Storm Shadow. So this is a version of Storm Shadow that is very heavy on my checklist, so a must-have. So finally got my hands on this version, the urban pattern camo version. Not a very effective camo pattern in real life, but very cool in action figure form. Okay, so we all have the components of the action figure purchase. This is immediately the Kitbash recipe, or how I would like to present or play with my Storm Shadow action figure. Okay, so before we get into the accessories, let us first take a look at what I did to the basic action figure. This is a very simple Kitbash recipe, something that you could immediately follow. And actually, I thought of the process of really making this simple at the same time very enjoyable to do. Okay, so first gripe that majority of collectors would have for this action figure is going to be the head unit. Okay, so with regards to the head unit, the eyes are just way too sunk beneath that mask. But there is a very simple solution as to really draw those eyes out and improve the articulation point of the head, because out of packaging, this action figure wouldn't have this much articulation point. Okay, so with regards to the head unit having this much articulation point, you just have to find or exchange the existing dumbbell joint on this action figure. So take the head out and replace that dumbbell joint with the appropriate one, something that's going to let you articulate that head very well. Okay, now with regards to that eyes being very visible right now, very easy and simple. Okay, so let's take the image on the action figure packaging. So that's way too sunk, as you could see, compared to this right now. Okay, so they're staring at each other eye to eye. Very simple solution. Just take the head out, use a hair dryer, and of course, point the hair dryer to this section of the hood and this section of the hood. So just move the hairdryer around and really soften the hood up. It is made of material that once it cools off, the mold is going to stay in place the way that you want it. So what I did was just to heat it up and raise that portion. Just jimmy your fingers in between those the space on the mask to raise that mask up, and just hold until the plastic cools off. So same thing that you're going to do on this section, and change the dumbbell joint, and there you go. At least you improve the articulation point on the head, and the eyes is well visible this time. No need to undergo really serious surgery. Taking the mask off, exchanging head units, and etc. etc. Just that very simple solution, and you retain the original piece of the action figure. Okay, so as you could see, the swords are already missing on the belt line or that skirt piece. So no modifications has been done on the base body action figure. None. But this is version number 1, the Swordsman Storm Shadow. So I have two versions of this Storm Shadow for this video. Okay, so just take the sword off on this side, actually, because this is the front, so it's going to be that side. Now the sword, it doesn't have a peg, actually it's just glued onto that section, so you could apply a little bit or heat of it. Do not exacto knife it, just pry it off with your fingers. It's going to peel off very easily. And with just a little bit of black paint, any black paint that you have, just apply to retouch. Okay, so why is this version 2? What I call my swordsman version of Storm Shadow. So actually my idea is just a reversible skirt piece. So in this mode, and you have this, actually the rope, and I just glued the dual sword scabbards on the back of the rope. Now that becomes a strap. Actually it is the strap of the backpack. It's not a rope that you are going to use for climbing or whatever, because take a look at how it is nicely secured or tied. It even has a red ornament and a very fancy tie. So this is meant as a strap. Okay, so what I did was just to cut off the skirt piece, because actually it's a redundant piece, something that the action figure does not need. So those two pieces on the front and the back, actually this is the front of the figure, this piece, and it also has a similar item on this section. So I just used a exacto knife to cut it off, and it's reversible this time. So which side I would like to use, I could just turn this around. And with regards to articulation points, is this skirt piece going to interfere with articulation points? The answer is no, because you have one drop leg function, and the way that this skirt piece is designed, this is soft and pliable plastic, and take a look at that. Articulation points is great. You just need to take off these portions, the front portions, which is black, which actually still covers a lot of the details of the pants. Okay, and you provide contrast instead of once again having a black material up front which covers details. Okay, so just reversible. You could just twist it around. Articulation is great. And Swordsman Storm Shadow. So with just this accessory, if you wish to, just place it on this way. Okay, that's it. Very simple recipe. So actually you get to use all of the accessories on the action figure that way. So this is how it looks on the back. You could even have the pockets up front. I just prefer that in this configuration I have the smaller bag up front. Okay, drawable swords, and he has the rest of his possible missions accessories or gear on those pockets. Okay, so that's the model number 1. Now let's go to model number 2. Okay, so version number 2 of Storm Shadow. So you could take this out, and it's an accessory that is ready-made. You could either use this for another Kitbash version of an action figure, a ninja, or whatever. Okay, so this So this is an accessory that you have on the action figure this way. So in in archery, I mean, this is called a chest protector. Actually, it doesn't protect the chest. What it does is it holds on to any loose clothing, and it makes it really flat or tight on the body, so it doesn't interfere with the draw stroke of the bow string. That's it. So it doesn't interfere with how you manipulate the bow. So shots are going to be more precise. That's it. That's the philosophy of use, or POU, for the archery chest protector. But what I have in mind for this is going to be, once again, a sling system for the backpack. Okay, so we're going to examine the individual components of this, but let us first do our second configuration. Okay, so let's put the action figure on a T pose, and let's move this section up front. So very easy and simple, no need to disassemble the action figure, just move it around. And that way you have another version of Storm Shadow. Okay, so with this piece, instead of using the front piece, which is white, we're going to use the black piece, which is the back portion of the chest protector, and that I would like to use that as a sling system for the backpack. Okay, so let's examine the backpack. So this is going to be the backpack. So now all components are in. Okay, so let's take this out first, and let's take a look at this. Okay, one, where are the arrows? So what I did was just very simple. So I cut it, and also the arrow points, or the arrowheads, I just cut it. So now that looks nice and clean. Actually, it just looks like a part of the backpack of Storm Shadow. Nothing very particular. So it doesn't look like a arrow. So we relocated the arrowheads on this section. So it looks like the arrows are stored vertically, not horizontally. Okay, so what I did was just drill 2 holes, 1 and 2. I used a measuring stick or tape and did a marking on the hole that I would like to drill on this section of the backpack. So just 2, and I shortened these 3 portions. So these 2 sides are going to be longer than these 2 the portions, so I could just post it in. So actually it looks like that. And I added 2 more peg systems to secure now the modified compound bow. Of course, as you could see, I placed a sword on this side of the bag, something to mimic the O-ring version. So that's it. So we have a wakizashi, a shorter version of the katana. So stored in this section of the bag. And we have 3 peg systems which secures the bow. Okay, so that is already a modified bow. Okay, so it's going to sit, oops, wrong. It's going to sit this way. There you go. Okay, so what did I do to the bow? So actually a very busy looking compound bow. It is practically a archery competition compound bow. So that's why you have a weight up front and several of the attachment points in this section. So what I did was just to simplify it. So the remodel actually is something that I got inspired with the Avengers movie. So something that possibly could fall down and retract out. So yeah. So we made this simpler, and look at that, it looks more cooler without all of the busyness. Okay, so we cut all of those sections, made it simpler, the design simpler, and it secures nice on the backpack that way. A little bit higher. Okay, and we also cut portions that we really don't use to make the backpack more streamlined. Okay, so the chest protector is now converted into a sling system for the backpack. So we use this because it's way flatter on the body versus this sling rope. Okay, so that's flatter, and you have more peg that's going to move on the back, move inside the back of the action figure, so thus securing the backpack well, so it's not going to easily fall off. Okay, so that is how it looks on the back of the action figure. And on the front, we just put a little bit of black paint in between the pockets, so the details of the pocket of those pockets are going to stand out instead of just being a white piece. Okay, so this is going to be Storm Shadow version 2. Okay, so we already covered all bases of what this action figure has. So the extra handsets, we could use that on a later build, because the primary handsets that you're interested with this action figure are going to be the accessory holding hands, which is on the action figure right now, not the fist or the chopping hands or blocking hands. Okay, so the last piece that we have. So what actually are these? So I tried to watch several videos online. Other reviewers would call these different things. So Wolverine claws is the most common item. The next thing is going to be, this is something that is used for climbing or scaling up walls, which actually isn't its primary mission order or MO. This is actually a farming tool or a gardening tool. So the official name of this type of equipment, it is an equipment. It is called a tekokagi, or TEKKO space KAGI, tekokagi. So it's a farming tool or a gardening equipment used to gather up branches in a heap, or hay, or cut grass, or it's used to cultivate the soil. So also known as a Japanese rake. So that's it. So in feudal Japan, there came a time that weapons were banned, swords, etc. Those official weapons that are used for war, only samurai could use them. Yeah, I'm into martial arts, so this is one of my interests. So I particularly know of this item because I was able to hold on to one and examine one actually. So you don't need to. It's when of course when you're going to pick up branches or grass or hay, you need to. But if you're just around the garden, you just need one doing that to the ground. So going back to the story, so weapons were banned, so farmers or bandits had to resort to other items or indigenous items that they could make hold of and turn them into weapons. So that's it. So this variant is the farming or gardening variant. So the Takokage will undergo changes in the hands of a skilled assassin, a ronin, or a bandit, or just a civilian that would want to have a weapon for self-defense. So this is going to be the variant of the Tekokage. So you have the shortened variant that you just cut the excess material and make them into sharp pointed items, stabbing item. And 2, clawing item. That's it. And actually, this set belongs to that action figure. The one that is on the Storm Shadow action figure now belongs to Raptor. Why does it fit well? Because of the way that the handsets of Storm Shadow is molded. It's molded flat. Unlike the Raptor handsets or glove sets that we have a lot of busy items on that glove set. So it really doesn't sit well on the handsets of Raptor. Okay, so now this is the weaponized version of the Tekokage. So it could be a bear claw. So something that could be implemented as one, a punching weapon and a scratching weapon up close and personal, and one is going to be a stabbing weapon. So you just convert those ends and then sharpen them up. And actually in this version, they are not of equal length. So based on, of course, the force that you're going to use in fighting or in the, fist fighting, I mean, because actually the Tekokage is a fist fighting implement. So when you're punching, these are the 2 knuckles that are very important to deliver a very effective or straight punch, especially in Karate Do. Okay, so that's the reason why I have the more pointed or sharper point on the first knuckle point, and the succeeding sharp edges are going to be on different lengths. So according to how you're going to implement that as a fighting implement or a weapon, it's going to be effective instead of having just one length, which this isn't a effective fighting implement. It is a gardening tool that is a fighting implement. So if you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe to help me grow my channel. And see you on the next action figure or custom action figure review.